Howdy, Possum Patty here, and it is Slow Stitch Sunday, and it's also Flea Market Sunday. And can you believe I found 2 of my wish list items for my Slow Stitch hashtag just because book at the flea market today. So come on along. First, the items that I found were, number 1, metallic thread. And I've been looking for something like this for a little while now. And this was originally $1.49 plus tax. I don't know where it came from. Sewing kit. But I paid $1 for it, so I figured $1 was worth it for 8 spools of metallic thread. I do have some gold, but that was the only metallic I had, and I'm loving these bright colors here. And the other thing that I was looking for, and I only had 2 things on my list, and I found them both, was this sheet of 52 kinds of semi-precious stones collection 1. Now, I wasn't looking for this particular item, but what I was looking for were little pieces of, pretty stones, maybe polished. They could have been rough. I didn't care. All different kinds, small enough that I can sew them into my Just Because book. Now, I've already put in, somewhere I put in a couple of these sodalite stones. Now, these were beads. They have holes in them. And I wanted, just different kinds. And this is really cool. It tells you what it is and where it is from. So whenever I feel like adding in a little piece of stone to my work, these are perfect. Now, my son recommended that I take a picture of it so I remember the name and the origin of the stones, because I'll probably take it off the paper to put it in the book. But we shall see what I'm going to do with that. But today I am going to use this thread, and I am going to, again, do a panel outside of the book. I'll probably put it maybe on this page. And I took a piece of this, this is just cotton muslin, and I ripped a 5x6 square, and this will go on top of that, like that, although you can see through it. Here. I don't want too much of a pattern showing through. Oh, I can back it with something, can't I? How about pink? Let's see. Pink, green. Oh, I kind of like how it looks over the green. So I ripped it about 1 inch longer on 3 sides. And as you can see, I'm sort of fraying the edges or making fringes. And I marked down 1 inch on each side, and all I'm doing is making a slice, whoops, that one's crooked, and ripping down to that line. And this was inspired by Lizzie Brewer, who was doing a rag quilt, and the rag quilt has these edges, but when you wash them, they get all fuzzy. They look really cool. Of course, this is not going to get washed because it's in the stitch book, but I think it still looks cool just the way it is. Ripped like this, and they'll get more frayed, as it gets handled, and the little strings will come off and all that stuff. So that'll be pretty cool. So I'm just going to finish doing this. And my intent was to try to do something a little abstract. And I'm going to use my ink tints pencils to color this, and then on top of the coloring I'm going to put stitches with this thread. If you're unfamiliar with ink tints, this is how they come, and a pack of 12 pencils is very expensive, like, you know, $20 to $30 depending where you get them. Of course, you can see I bought this for $5 because I don't ever pay full price. Looks like a tag sale or flea market. And they are like watercolor pencils. They're water soluble, but the pigment is much richer. It's an ink, and you can put them on fabric, and they do last quite a while on fabric. Sort of permanent. I'm not sure how permanent, but they're ink, so it'll stain the fabric, and therefore it will stay on the fabric quite a while. You can also get the pencils individually at some stores, like at art supply stores. So I don't think I've used this set yet, so let's stick to the ones I've already used. And you can see I've used these a bit in my art journaling because I love these. And I'm just was going to put some colors on here, and you need a brush and some water. So I have a little jar of water here, and I have a paper towel. And just like you were going to use these on paper, you color with them and then take the brush and activate the ink. Now when you first color with it, it might look kind of blasé, but once you add the water, it really does sparkle. So speaking of sparkle, let me open this up and choose some of these colors, and maybe I can match them up a little bit. So here's a really pretty green, green purple. What should I put in there? Silver or yellow. Alright, I'm not going to use the red though, but maybe 4 colors. So let me see. I actually have a little chart here. Teal green. Teal green. Teal green. I like that one. And let's see. Green aqua. Ooh, do I want teal green or green aqua? Or maybe both. Maybe I don't have all the colors on here. Fuchsia. Okay, I have a chart, but all the colors aren't there, so we're gonna guess. And a blue aqua maybe. These are so used, I kind of rub the name of the color off. I want the pretty blue. I want the pretty blue. That's nice. Alright, so we got pink, green, blue, and what should we do with the gold? Do I want orange? Let's see, I'm looking at the chart. Some kind of orange or yellow. What's this? Sienna gold. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, we'll stick with 4 colors. 4 threads, 4 colors. Let's not go too crazy. You can always do another page. This is just an experiment. And I might not get all that sewing done today, but let's see. I have no idea what I'm going to do here. Well, we can always do circles because they look like bubbles. Well, maybe I will. All right, I'm always a liar, right? Changing my mind constantly. I'm gonna blend a couple of colors because you know I'm always doing that. Can't stick to just one color. Okay, so let's see, I'll do another one up here. Keep the water for now. Let's make them different sizes. So I'm just going to do random circles, and I am putting a lighter sienna gold and a darker mid vermilion. So hard to be random, isn't it? All right, so we'll put one here. We'll call that random. And I'm going to do all the drawing first, because then once I start adding water, it's going to get very wet. All right, so those two colors. And now let's see. Do I have another color? Yes, I do. I have a carmine pink and a fuchsia. So I'm going to put the darker color. Now you could do anything you want. Put a little bit of that other color there. And let's see. Make another one here. I'll probably have to dry this before I start sewing on it because it's going to be wet. And let's see, put one down here. It was a really nice day today, beautiful weather. Warm and clear and sunny. There was a lot of people at the flea market, and it just seemed like people were talking and laughing, and people seemed to be in a good mood for once. Like a little one. Okay, now aqua. Let's see, maybe a darker green or even a blue. I wish I can find that other color. No, we don't want leaf green. I'm looking at the colors here. Mallard green. Mallard green. That's kind of a pretty green. Trying to get one lighter and one darker. Ooh. What's this? Apple green. Now let's stick to the blue one. This might be prettier on white. The colors will show up more. So it's funny, it's like one time you go, it seems to be a lot of things. You know, it's like one week I go and like 12 vendors all have big button collections. Or one week I go and 12 vendors all have big crochet hauls, you know, at their booth. It's just funny like that. It just how it kind of runs like that. And this Sunday, you know, there were 12 people with big rock collections. And I try not to buy more rocks because I have way too many rocks. Okay, we're going to do 2 blues. And then I'll just fill in with wherever I think I need something. But I got the stone collection that I bought, not from one of the vendors with the big rock collections. It's just an odd piece sitting in a box of junk he had on the side. And the rock collectors all had really nice stuff, but not what I was looking for. I mean, they had big, beautiful crystals. Not anything that I could put into a journal. How am I going to stitch this? I guess I can just stitch around. Stitch around, stitch around. Filling in with some little bubbles. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now, if you search for this on YouTube, you can see that people actually do beautiful paintings with these ink tints. But that's not my goal today. My goal is just to do a fun page. Something that anybody can do no matter what their skill level is. You can draw a crooked circle. Now I'm just going around with the brush. And the water activates the ink. Trying to keep them somewhat round. You don't have to be perfect. Only possum perfect. Sometimes there's people playing at the flea market, like a gentleman was playing a guitar. That's always fun. Now this material doesn't have a lot of sizing on it, so the colors are going to kind of blob out a little bit. But we're not worried about that because, you know, this isn't a painting. We're just putting some colors on the material as like a background for the stitching. Ooh, look at that one. That one came out nice. This one's spreading all over the place. That's okay. Now those pinks are really popping out. I would like the green to be darker. Okay, something else you can do is take the tip of the pencil and dip it a little bit into the water and do that on top of wet. So this is kind of like wet on wet. Can you hear the banging at the door? Really bringing out more color this way. because I likes my color. Just go round and round. Oh, this is much better. Material's already wet. Let me pick one of these blues. I'm wetting the tip. Ooh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. We can even do that pink, even though that pink is really bright. We can make it brighter. Ooh, maybe I can stitch. I just gave myself an idea by going around in a circle there. Stitch in a spiral. Now that would be interesting. Go around like a spiral. Like that. Orange. Do we want the light one or the dark one? Let's go with the dark one. Around and round. So this is just an experiment. I think I missed a little one over there. Pink, I need the pink, pink, pink. Ooh, wow. Mamma mia, that's getting red. Well, that's kind of interesting. I should probably dry this off. Then I'll come back and see what I can do with stitching. Okay, now I can't stop. Somebody yell, stop. Stop, stop, stop. I like the way it runs a little bit. Kind of spreads out there. Well, I tried the first two, and I just started in the middle and went around to see how this thread would work. And this metallic thread is actually very fine, and you got to be careful with it. But I did the gold, and I did the sort of purplish, pinkish purplish color. So it's going to take me a while to do all of those circles. So I think what I'm going to do is just go put my feet up in the living room, and I'll take this in there with me, and I'll finish these circles, and then I'll come back and show you what I did, show you how it looks. Because basically I'm just running around in a spiral, so I'm not doing any kind of fancy stitching. So I'll see you in a little while. Well, now 24 hours later, here I am still sewing in circles. This is what I've done so far. I'm loving it. I'm loving these threads. It's kind of like very fine tinsel from a Christmas tree. That's what it's reminding me of. But they're a little persnickety to work with. And a couple of them I couldn't find the end, or the beginning, I should say. And I kind of pulled it off from the bottom, and then other parts popped out, but I'll deal with that. Just don't want to waste any. And I think I did the same thing now. The green one and the gold one seem to be fine. Oh no, this has got a piece hanging out too. Anyway, that's of no concern to you. I just thought I'd save the last dance for you, right? And do the last couple on camera. I did some while I was watching some other crafting videos, which is kind of dangerous because then I see people doing things and I'm like, ooh, I want to do that too. And somebody was making, and you know who you are, a new journal with a hidden spine. Now, I've made a journal where I've put material over where the stitches are, but that's not really a hidden spine, that's just covering up the stitches. So I'd really like to do with a real hidden spine, just to learn how to do that. So I watched very carefully while I was sewing. Maybe that's why it's taking me so long to sew. And then I watched, and you know who you are, somebody making a shabby chic folio. And that was pretty amazing, the way they fold out, and she did such lovely decorations. And then, you know, I watched a few other videos. I went in the living room, put up my feet. We watched a couple episodes on the TV. What are we watching right now? We're watching Leverage, which is kind of like a modern day Robin Hood. 5 thieves, a band of merry thieves, right? They go after people who prey on the poor and helpless. So the people who are conning unsuspecting innocent people, they prey on the predators and then give the money back to the people that the predators stole it from. So it is like Robin Hood, but in modern times. And I still hadn't finished. It was time to go to bed. So then, checking my camera here. So then I got up this morning and I did a little bit at the kitchen table. But I had to get my laundry done. Had to do some cleaning. Had to do some vacuuming. Ugh, house was dirty too. And then, let's see, I had to practice my new song on the keyboard. Then I needed to take a break, and while I was sitting and taking my break, I did a little bit more. And now it is 24 hours later. Well, that's not too bad, because some of these slow stitch pages have taken me days to finish, because there's a lot of stitching, or like that one I did like the flip up, so it was really like 4 pages for one project. Now I've started in the middle, and I'm just trying to do a spiral out as best I can. I'm not marking it, I'm just eyeballing it, so they're not perfect. Well, they're possum perfect, and that's okay. Good enough for me. And if you use a material that has more sizing in it, material that hasn't been washed is the best. You don't get that little halo around the colors. The colors don't run so much. So you can see on here a little bit of halo around. But now I see it close up. See, the orange has got a halo here. So I did the green on green, the gold on the orange, blue on blue, the magenta on the pink. So it's very fun. And you know, if I iron it, I can probably get all those puckers out, but I kind of like that texture. Look at that. I don't really want to iron it. I want to leave all that puckery stuff in there. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So let me finish up my green here. So in some of them I kind of pretend it's going like around behind the other color, so I come out the other side and then continue across the gap like that, because there's a little bit of a green halo there. Like that. I can even come over here, make another green stitch here, pretend that it's going all the way around. I did leave some of the gaps empty, so I have some interesting negative spaces, like one there, one over here, one over here, a little bit down here, a little bit over there. But I think I will put, because I still got a little bit of a green halo going here, continue this across over here. So now I'm thinking that this would make great Christmas tree tinsel on a little page in the Just Because book. When I get around to doing Christmas things, I can embroider a little tree, or maybe use different green material, do like a little quilting tree, and then I can use the red and the green to make some ornaments, and I could use the silver to make some tinsel. I think that'd be very pretty. Even gold ornaments. These colors would be really pretty. I don't know how much is on each spool. Doesn't say, does it? No. This is probably old. And you know what? That's a UK flag. And a French flag. And I don't know what flag that is because I can't see the little thing down there. I'm thinking this is not a US product, because there's no US flag on here. King Bird. If you're in the UK or New Zealand or France, or I don't know what this one is. Is that Spain? Somewhere else, and you recognize King Bird sewing kits, just remark below, let me know. Because that would be interesting to see where these things come from. Because I bought it at the flea market, so there's no telling where it originally came from. I mean, I got a really interesting book from Australia at the flea market one day. Or was New Zealand. It was from New Zealand. I had the cutest little student from New Zealand back when I was teaching 3rd grade. Okay. So then I just made a little tiny knot on the back. The gold seemed to be the most finicky. After I say that, and caught my green here. And I don't know why. Whatever they use to color it might be softer. But it seemed like it was always getting hung up. Compared to the other colors, the green and red work pretty good. And the blue. So all I need is a little bit of red. So I'm saving all the little bits. So if I have a little thing I need to sew, I can use it. And then the tiny, tiny bits, I will, you know, add as fiber to something because they're so pretty. I don't know what I did to this spool. Look at it. Such a mess. Oh, I think I finally found the right way to pull it off, but I still can't find the end. I'm sure there was a right way to do this, and whatever that was, I certainly didn't find it. Let's see, how much do I need? I don't need too much. Oh, I'm going to have to cut this, and I don't want to do that. Ooh, I don't want to waste any of it. So this is my fun find for $1. Mr. Possum's all excited because I've been finding all these things that I can use at really good prices, and he really hasn't found anything he was looking for at a good price. He says, I don't know how you're doing it. He says, why would anybody bring that to the flea market? I said, well, because it's thread. People buy thread, material and papers and cards, and, you know, there's always crafters looking for things to sew with. So, oh, I was even saving these little tiny bits that got glued on something. So I'm almost done with this. Look at the neat pattern here. I don't know if you can see that. There's like a little bit of a light center, and some areas are a little bit darker than other areas. That's because I went around and around with the pencil before I wet it. Started in the middle, and I discovered that I really have to check the back to make sure it didn't get tangled up. So I already have a plan for my next project in the book. Well, actually I have like 3 plans. My gosh. It's like I didn't do one for a week. And then I found what I was looking for. I skipped a week, didn't I? But then I found what I was looking for at the flea market. And then I was watching other videos. Oh, I was watching Lizzie Brewer. And her quilts fascinate me, and her stitching, and her waltzing Matilda. And she was trying a couple new kinds of quilting. There's a Japanese boro way of patching. Turning patching old jeans into an art form, which is funny because it reminds me of my sisters back in the early 70s when they used to sew patches and embroider on their jeans all the time. And it's kind of like taking something old and turning it into art. They really appreciate older things. And I know Japanese have a term, wabi-sabi, which when things get like the patina, the original paint or finish, sort of ages and crackles, or if it's copper, turns green. It just makes the item more interesting. More worthy. So I try to go round and round and round. I don't get them all even. Oh, so the boro is the Japanese. You put a patch and you do sewing on it. And some people get very creative on the patches. So I was thinking, oh, I could put like a denim patch as a page and put little tiny, and they could be like the faux jeans, right? And then I could put little tiny patches on that and do some creative stitching over that. And then the other one she was doing was a Kawandi quilt, which is certain kind of quilt made by the, I don't know how to say it, Siddhi people of India of Eastern African descent. And they make it from used clothing, which is kind of like what we do here with the slow stitching with scraps and found materials and old clothing. I know I cut up the old clothing, take the buttons, take the laces. If I like the material, I save squares of it. And they make a quilt, and it's an interesting technique because I'm not a quilter. But if I could do one little square in my Just Because book, that'll be like fantastic. They start at the edge and they work into the center instead of starting at the center and working out or doing pieces and put it all together. They have the whole background. They do around the edge and around and around and around into the center, which I thought was pretty interesting. So I need to write those down. Well, actually, and the other thing was a Christmas tree, right? With that silver tinsel. I don't have to wait for Christmas to do that. It's almost July. It could be a Christmas in July page. Oh, and okay, just tie this off and save that thread, put it over there for now. You know, it really doesn't matter where I put it because I'm going to put some batting behind it. So I could put it on any page. Oh, you know what? I did something wrong here. This was supposed to be between this page and this page, because this was supposed to be sewn on here and then this whole thing sewn together, but that didn't happen. So I can just sew it onto here. Wow, these two pages next to each other are going to be wild. Interesting though. Book is getting more interesting, more interesting, more interesting. Okay, so I'll probably off camera cut this down and just put this aside because I want to sew on this page and then put these all together like that. And oh, my idea was, because I wanted to do one of these, so maybe I'll just go ahead and do this one. You got it, look. Green, blue. I can put some gold in there. I think I'll just do some creative stitching. You know what? I have more of this material too. I could actually cut a piece and work on it outside the book and then put that in there too, like that. And that would be okay. That's the middle. Oh my gosh. There are two signatures. I'm only halfway through the first. This book is going to be like that, but that's okay. I'll just display it on the shelf like a piece of art. Display it open. Oh well, okay, that's enough for today. Thanks for coming along. Happy slow stitching. Bye-bye now.